What's up everybody, we are Deanna and Phil. Deanna here is from the United States and I, Phil, am from Germany. And in this video we're going to talk about 6 major differences between supermarkets,
aka grocery stores,
in the US and in Germany.
So our first point is parking lots.
Dude, the parking lots of the supermarkets in the US, they're just huge. It's ridiculous.
They really are. We did a Walmart video, which was filmed in South Carolina, and people were, quote, triggered and offended that we parked so far away. We parked in the middle. Like, there was a whole parking lot behind us, and we really did it just to show how ridiculously big it was, but people didn't really get that.
Also, you don't die from walking 100 steps to a supermarket. It's just walking a couple steps.
I know.
It's not bad for you.
It was pretty funny, but we just wanted to show how big the parking lots can be.
Yeah, dude, it's so ridiculous.
I mean, it is very dependent on if you're like in a suburban area versus like very city area. In a city, you'll probably park in a parking garage or on the street somewhere.
But even then, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they have spaces. Versus a lot of the ones that we find here, they're not nearly as big. They're like a fraction, a very small fraction of the size.
Yeah, like every supermarket we went to, I was surprised by how big the parking lots were. And even at the busiest times, they were never full. There's always a good amount of space. And I think the slots for the cars, each slot is also a little bigger because the car average size is probably a little bigger. But I really like that. In Germany, it's a little different. Often the parking lots are super busy and you have trouble finding a spot. They just build it closer to what the maximum amount of people is that are coming there. Does it make sense? It's just probably the average occupancy of a German parking lot is like, I don't know, 60%, where in the US it's, I don't know, 16% or like 30. I think the big advantage in the US is it's nice to have that space. You always find one. You don't have to drive around a lot. But the disadvantage is, I think it makes it super spread out too. Like if I want to go from Trader Joe's to the Publix.
Publix.
If I want to go from Trader Joe's to like the Publix, not the Publix, and it's next door, is like, it's pretty far away.
We were at the shopping outlet and we were walking from Barnes & Noble to Best Buy, which is like 5 blocks it felt like, but it was literally just parking lots in between. We were walking
that's
through.
super interesting.
People looked at us like we were weird because we were actually walking. Most people just drive from like A to B really close.
Laid out for cars. Overall, I think the parking situation is definitely better in the US than in Germany.
More spots.
Alright, the second point that's a little different between the US and Germany is the supermarket shopping carts.
Yeah, or buggies, trolleys, baskets with wheels. There are so many different names for it.
Basket with wheels. Yeah.
In the US, a lot of the supermarkets have the shopping carts where you can just get them yourselves, bring them back to your car, and it kind of becomes a shopping cart graveyard in the parking lot because people don't always bring their carts back to where they're supposed to be. And I actively try to park away from any of these shopping cart console areas, like where you return them.
I noticed that.
Because my car has been hit so many times by people just leaving their carts in the middle of the parking lot and they just like roll away into your car. It's horrible.
And I saw there's always like employees walking around collecting them, putting them back into where they belong, right?
Yeah, that's a job, but someone can't be out there all the time. So that person usually has other job responsibilities as well.
Do you know another funny thing that I noticed immediately when I took the first shopping cart in the US?
What?
Your back wheels are locked, so I can only steer with the front wheels, which makes it not as nimble. In Germany, all the shopping carts, the front and the back wheels are free to move, so you can spin it around in a spot and stuff like that. That's a little harder in the US to maneuver them. I think they might be also a little bigger.
Oh yeah, they're bigger.
So that's the funny thing I noticed right away. So the difference is, you don't get a cart in Germany without putting money in, but you get it back. You have to put it in, then it automatically unlocks a chain from the next cart, and you get it, and you can drive around with it. And since everybody's very cheap here, you have to bring it back to get your 50 cents back, otherwise you lose it. A lot of companies even give out little plastic or metal coins, like branded ones, so they're just for fitting into a shopping cart and you can put it on your keychain or something like that. So that's like a marketing thing too.
I don't know, I think it's a really good concept because it entices people to return their cart where it's supposed to go.
That's true.
Alright, our third point is the bakery section.
Yeah, and almost every bigger supermarket in Germany has a bakery section built in. That means you can go into like your Rewe, Edeka, Aldi, whatever we have, and they have this little section where they put freshly baked goods out there, and they might sit there. If you're lucky, they just come out. They might sit there for an hour or so. But you can get bread rolls, you can get different pieces of just bakery items, cakes and stuff like that. And it depends on the supermarket. Sometimes the selection is amazing, sometimes it's very boring. I think they established that over the last, I don't know, a decade maybe, because I remember back in the day that was not such a big thing, but now almost every supermarket or grocery store has a bakery section. I
love it. I think it's awesome. You can get fresh bretzels, you can get these cheese bread things, pizzas. They have a lot of like Turkish pastries. I don't know what it's called, but I love it. It's this big spiral
like lamachun and stuff like that. Yeah.
So good. So in the US, some of the supermarkets will have this bakery section. I know Walmart has it, Bilo, Publix, they'll usually have like a deli section with a bakery section close by, but it's not the same.
When your supermarkets have it, like the big, super big Walmarts, it's so much bigger. At Walmart, that's ridiculous. The amount of big cakes and awesome things like cupcakes, brownies, what else do you have there? Donuts, like huge selection. We can't compete with that.
Another thing that I really miss about the US bakeries are the bagels. I feel like it's hard to find a good bagel here.
Good bagel.
A bagel.
Yeah, bagels are funnily not a big thing in Germany at all. I think the German logic is it's just a bread roll with a hole in it, so why would I put a hole in it if I can have the entire thing?
It's more dense. It's what it's so good. Different. We were at Publix looking for a birthday cake, and they have these like Publix premium cakes that are in the actual shelf. And we were talking to the lady and we were like, is this one better than this one in the other section? And she was like, honestly, we get this cake frozen and we just put the icing on top and make it look pretty. So it's not actually baked here. The German supermarkets, I feel like they actually make the fresh things there, or at least heat it up there.
They heat it up. It's huge chains, right? So they get the frozen stuff delivered, but they have a little oven. And oftentimes the oven is in the supermarket too. You see it next to it. They just come with a new batch, put it in, put it on some automatic setting, and it beeps and it's done like a microwave. If you're lucky, you see the person just pulling it out, then you know that one is a good fresh batch. All right, number 4, big ass aisles, at least in the United States.
Yeah, this definitely depends on where you are. We were in South Carolina, I lived in Florida for a bit, and I've been to Texas, and there are bigger aisles in the grocery stores there. Way bigger than the ones I've been to in Germany.
They say everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So are the aisles in Texas even bigger than the ones in South Carolina or on the East Coast?
There's some pretty big ones.
Wow.
You can actually push 2 of the big carts side by side down some of the aisles, and I don't think you can do that here.
What do you mean side by side?
Like we can race down an aisle together with space on either side.
Dude, they were so big you can race 4 or 5 next to each other.
It's pretty crazy. If you're in the cities, it's probably not as big. I know in some of the cities that we've been in and some of the cities that I've lived in, they're not nearly as big, but they're still relatively...
That's true. But what you just said, they're still relatively big. We went into a couple of stores in New York City and I was amazed by the space, because you come from these tiny hotel rooms where every square inch is worth a lot of money, and the rental prices, you know about how crazy that is in New York City, but the supermarkets were still pretty spacious. It's a good amount of space. It's like a full-on Aldi from Germany, right in New York City there.
The Americans we have our bubble. We don't like people reaching across from us to get something.
Excuse me?
We have a bubble. And don't cross it. So that's why I think the supermarkets or the grocery stores tend to have a little more space.
I'm surprised by how big they are. It's another thing I really like. And in Germany, it's definitely smaller. It comes down to the same thing. It's way more spread out in the US. Same with the parking lots.
Yeah.
You just have more space to maneuver your cart. Another funny thing I noticed, or polite thing I noticed in the US, you cross another person comes towards you, there's so much space. For my German understanding, there's so much space, and you just walk by. Every time they're like, excuse me? You're just passing me. Nothing to be sorry for or to be excused for. Okay. Excuse me.
Okay, that might be the South, because I notice if someone, like if you're looking at, see the cereal or something, and someone grabs a cereal in front of you, they'll be like, excuse me, pardon me.
Yeah, that's, of course, that's self-explanatory, but the just passing, when it's not even tight.
If you're passing by.
Excuse me?
That might be an exaggeration.
I lived in Munich, and the supermarkets are getting very tight. When I went shopping and I had a backpack on or something, I almost felt like pushing things over. There are sometimes the aisles are so tight you can barely pass each other. US supermarkets just more spread out in general. Another thing, the size is just another level.
It's bigger. So our fifth point is alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol in a German supermarket is not a problem at all. You can get any kind of alcohol from beer to wine to champagne to schnapps, liqueur, all that hard stuff. Everything is in a German supermarket. There's no problem. You can get it.
Yeah, it was crazy to me when I first came here. There are even like these cute little mini bottles at the checkout lines. Like you're gonna pick up a pack of gum, but instead it's like a Jägermeister mini bottle and you're just gonna throw it on there.
We call it Flachmann.
Flachmann?
It's a flat bottle, flask. It's a flask.
Oh, Flachmann. Pour a little Baileys in your Kaffee and Kuchen. It's great.
It's true. There's like chocolate bars, Mars, Snickers, Twix, and then there's Jägermeister, vodka, and that stuff.
So in the US, you can get beer and wine at a lot of supermarkets. It really depends on which state you live in. I know
sometimes you can get nothing, right?
Yeah, sometimes you can get nothing and you have to have a completely different liquor store in certain states. I forget, maybe New Jersey, I can't remember which states. I know in the South, you're not allowed to sell alcohol on Sundays in certain districts and city areas. You can't even buy beer or wine if you want to. You have to buy it on the Saturday beforehand if you want to drink on Sunday.
It's like Thailand, where they had the midday closing thing. When was that? From 12 o'clock till...
It was for, like the afternoon until like 4 or 6 p.m. and you couldn't start buying until 6 p.m. or something like that. It's kind of like that. I remember when I was a waitress in high school that we couldn't serve alcohol on Sundays and I accidentally did and I had to run back quickly and I was like, sorry sir, I can't give you that beer because it's Sunday.
Why?
I don't know. They've changed the law since then in Greenville, South Carolina.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think it comes from the Bible Belt area, so it was like a religious background. I don't know.
One thing that was surprising to me is these standalone liquor stores.
Yeah.
A store just for liquor, for alcohol.
Oh.
We haven't been into one now that I think about it.
You should go to a Total Wine. You will die.
Total Wine?
It's like a Costco for alcohol.
Sounds amazing.
Next trip.
Even though I'm barely ever drinking alcohol. All right, and finally number 6, our last point is the checkout situation between America and Germany in the supermarkets is pretty different.
Yeah, if you go to a normal supermarket in Germany, you have to put the divider down.
Oh.
You don't have to, but like I feel like people in front of me or behind me will put it down for me if I don't immediately put it down. It's like a thing.
That's true. That happens. So you're talking about the band, you queue at the checkout and these little dividers on the side. Sometimes I left just a little space, but as you said, oftentimes if a person in front of you sees it's missing, it's like a stress factor. It's like,
I don't want to buy their stuff.
Yeah, what if the checkout person doesn't notice it and she puts an item on mine or misses one of mine? It's like, and then they put it down. It's like it's not a law, but it's like an unwritten law. It's a thing.
It's so funny. Dude, I've started to do that after being in Germany for so long. I'll be buying something and I'll put a divider in front and behind mine automatically now just because of it.
But there's room for conflict there. What if the person puts it down too early? Like you're still putting stuff on and they already put one in there and then you run out of space. It's like...
dilemma.
It's a jungle out there. It's dangerous. Supermarket life can be tricky.
In the US, sometimes they don't even have the dividers. Like they'll be missing or broken or gone. And I'll just use like a paper towel roll or toilet paper. Like that's my divider. This is where my stuff starts. Because they're just not there. It's not really as big a thing.
So you bring your own toilet paper roll?
No, if I'm buying it. Okay. If I'm buying like something, I have it as a natural divider.
Another thing that I notice is very different. The checkout options.
Oh, yeah.
So often in the US, you have the option for a self-checkout.
Yeah.
And if you come from Germany, you might know that from IKEA lately though. Oh. Like back in the day, that wasn't a big thing. And maybe some bigger supermarkets, some Real or Kaufland, whatever, have that now. I haven't seen many though yet. And in the US, every supermarket checkout option, and you just go to these little machines, you put your stuff on one side, you scan it all, put it on the other side. There are free bags. That's another thing, free bags. There are no free bags in Germany.
Well, that depends on the state, in the city.
Germany, there are nowhere, no free bags.
I think it's good. I think people should reuse bags. It's very wasteful.
That's true, but self-checkout, very convenient.
Yeah, there'll usually be at least one employee like overseeing multiple self-checkout kiosks. Yeah. I always go to the self-checkout if it's an option because it's just way faster. I feel like it's so much better. I really like it. I think it's awesome.
Dude, I think Germans would need some time to adapt to that because there's like this thing of like, ooh, what if I make a mistake and I don't know, it's a electronic machine and then I have to pay by myself mainly with card. That's tricky.
No, they have cash ones too. At the Lidl in Greenville, South Carolina, they had self-checkout. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And our bakery item, we had to put what we got.
Another small thing though, on the non-self-checkouts, the normal ones, sometimes you have a second person standing there packing your bags for you.
I forgot about that. Yeah, they're bag boys and girls, people. Like especially at Publix, I feel like there's always a bag person, and I like packing my own bags, and there will immediately be a person running up, start packing my bag for me.
Sounds a bit condescending when you say bag boys or girls. That's the way it felt to me when they go and pack it for you. And I feel almost bad, like, dude, I'm sorry that you have to do that. I can pack my own bag. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I know.
But I get it's just a service.
Yeah,
thing,
it's
right?
their job. Like,
it's nice.
They get paid for it.
It's nice to have. Felt super unfamiliar to me in the beginning because that's not a thing we have anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a thing that's so not in Germany. They just throw it down there, and if you're not quick enough, they start with the next person and throw their stuff on top.
You gotta hustle when you're in a German supermarket.
Totally, it's a stressful situation. Let us know if you know about any other differences between those two and if you can relate to these situations.
Yeah. And we want to give a quick thank you to our Patreons. We started that a few weeks ago now, and we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten on there. It's really cool getting to know you guys better. So big thank you to you guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for all the support.
If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.